For anyone that doesn't know, I'm a returning player. I used to play Summoner's War way, way back in the day. I think I started in late 2014, early 2015, and played it for several years. And then I stopped playing, and I would check in periodically. But I had an account that was that old, and I'm working on getting back into it. I'm in the middle of talking with support about it right now. But in the meantime, we're rocking on this account, and I thought it would be fun to go through and talk about some of the monsters that I miss, some that I would like to pull on this account. I've had interesting luck actually on this account already. I pulled a Leo, who I don't believe I had on my old account. I pulled Praha, and then I've gotten these two right here who are new to me. I don't know much about these because, again, I'm just returning after a pretty long break. But the Leo pull was really cool. Bars. But I thought we would jump in and talk about some champs that I have my eye on because I either missed them or because I never got them. So let's go through and talk about our wish list. We're gonna kick it off with any dragon. I never pulled a dragon on my old account. In all the years I played, I never pulled a dragon. I did make an alternate account a long time ago when I was making content, and Zyros was the first Nat 5 I pulled on that account. Like very early on, barely out of the tutorial, popped a scroll, got lightning, and it was Zyros. But on my main account, I've never had him on an account where I got to use him, and that goes for any dragon. Actually, they're all really good and really usable, which I'm really glad Com2S nailed, because I know a lot of people started playing this game because of the dragon. They saw the dragon in an ad or something. It'd be a real bummer if they weren't good, but I would be super thrilled to pull any dragon. Don't care which one it is. I would take any of them. Let's hang out in this territory for a minute. And say Sierra as well, another one. She eluded me for my entire career, and it always drove me nuts because she's insanely good. And I think she's still very good. So Sierra's on that list. And then the last one on that list, the last one I think on the like eluded me for years and years list was Perna, the Fire Phoenix. Again, just a crazy unit, and never was able to get my hands on one. So those 5 monsters are on my long running wish list, even my old wish list. I would love to get these monsters. Perna's great at like a lot of things. Sierra's insane for anything PvP, and again, all the dragons are good for a lot of different things. The dragons have a lot of utility, which again, I'm really glad that they nailed that so well. So now we'll get into some champs that you know, he's an honorable mention. Rakan. I'll be honest with you, I can't remember if I pulled Rakan, but I wanted Rakan real bad. Been a while. Anyway, let's move on to champs that I know that I had and that I miss. All right. First up, it's Leica. I don't know how good Leica is anymore, but he went through phases. He went through being real bad and then being crazy good. And then I think they did it again. I think they nerfed him and made him bad and then buffed him and made him good again. I'm not 100% sure about that, but he's got some really cool mechanics. He can't land glancing hits. And the inflicted damage of one attack won't exceed 24%. Yeah, so basically he can't get one-shotted. And so I used to use him a lot in Guild Wars. He was really fun for me to use in Guild Wars. And you get him on a good vamp set, and he's real gross. He's real gross. He was a lot of fun to use. I really, really enjoyed my Leica. I would be stoked to pull another one. Even not knowing where he fits into the current situation of the game, I still just really like him. I really like Leica, and I would like to have another one. Another one. One of the ones that perhaps I missed the most is Samath. Just such a fun monster. Such a fun monster, and so good, man. The speed lead for Arena is crazy. He's got really useful skills. Every one of his skills is really good. This is also really, really killer. The decreasing attack speed and then increase the skill cooldown. So if you go first, you kind of take away the enemy's first turn from them. It's real nice. And then his passive here, when you hit him and he dies, it comes back to life and does heavy AoE damage, and it can smack. He's just really, really fun, man. I really, really liked having him in Arena, and he's one of the ones I think I miss the most. He's probably in like my top 3 most missed champs. I really would be thrilled to pull another Samoth. All right. Another one that I'm just really affectionate with. A lot of sentimental value for some reason. I think it's because he was one of the first ones I pulled when Monkey King. Just solid, man. I used him everywhere. He was part of what helped me get through Giants. I used him in TOA. I used him in Guild Wars. I would swap him in an arena in certain fights. I think I used him in Rift for a while. He's just one of those champs you can take everywhere. Pretty simple kit, but really, really effective. He's got the stun on the A1, which is so clutch. And then if you skill him up, that's a 50% stun on the A1. That's a pretty solid A1. And then here, again, just very standard, but it's just a defense down. It's a very reliable defense down. Pretty decent multiplier, I believe. And you can get the cooldown low, so you can keep pumping it out. And then the passive decreases the incoming damage by 35% and counterattacks when an ally is attacked. When counterattacking, the harmful effect activation rate increases by 50%. So he's just fun, man. He's really, really good. I really like him a lot. So he's also in the top 3 ones I would say I missed the most. Moving right along, we've got Triton. Triton was just real good, man. He was real good. He was real good for a while, and then I feel like I remember him kind of slipping his way into the actual meta. I feel like for a period of time anyway, he was used by very, very high-level players in Arena, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while, but he's got a really good strip here. So if you didn't have Tiana, he was fantastic. The full strip and the turn meter knockback, if you can go in and get first turn, again, kind of in the same way Samoth does, you kind of rob them of anything they have set up. If they have wheel runes, if you can cut with him, you can strip off any buffs that were placed. Real good there. And then here you've got a 2-turn silence, which is also really handy. So you could kind of gauge what you want to do first turn. If there's no wheel runes, you can come in and put him on silence for 2 turns. And then the transfer home. He's just solid. He's just a solid champ. Makes life a little bit easier in PvP, for sure. Sticking with wind, I had a very wind heavy account. That I do remember. As I was going through and looking at the champs that I wanted to put on this list, I realized I had a lot of wind. A lot of wind nat 5s on the old account. The next one is Tesher or Teshar, however you want to pronounce it. Just crazy. And they've buffed him apparently, I found out recently. So he's got the stun on the A1. Here he's got the removes a beneficial effect. And if the higher the HP, the more damage he does. But here's his real claim to fame is he attacks all enemies with a violent storm once more to stun after you attack the enemy on your turn. That's interesting. The cooldown of Tempest will reset. Oh, wait a minute. No, yeah, attacks all enemies. Cooldown will reset if an enemy dies from your attack. Is he still... Is this different? Didn't he used to get... Didn't he used to get an extra turn if he killed? Didn't it reset the cooldown and he got an extra turn? Attacks all enemies with a violent storm once more to stun for 1 turn after you attack the enemy on your turn. Which I guess is kind of the same effect. The cooldown of Tempest will reset if an enemy dies. So if you get a kill, you get the reset, and then anyone you don't kill, I guess, gets stunned with the second hit. Surely with 2 hits, though. So yeah, it seems like he's even better than he used to be. I used to use him to, rush the first 40 or so stages of TOA. I would just put him in alone and just run waves, and then as we got a little bit higher, he would need a little bit of assistance, but maybe not quite to 40. Then I would throw in a Lucian, then I would throw in another Lucian to keep it up. But that's kind of what I used him for, but it was just real handy. It was just real nice to have. I feel like he could also do some pretty good damage in Giants back in the day. I feel like he was decent for a Giants team as well. So yeah, he was already really good. Apparently they've buffed him. Ridiculous. And then, man, yeah, most of them are wind. Now that I'm looking at it, most of our champs are wind here. Next up, we've got Tiana, who I mentioned when I was talking about Triton. Tiana's insane. She's got this, she removes all buffs and debuffs on the battlefield from everyone. And it can't be resisted. So if you go first, if she's the first one to go, you're probably gonna win. If you're running a strong cleave, it's really, really strong. So she not only does she does that, but she also boosts your turn meter 30%. So she's got the good turn meter boost, and she's gonna completely strip everything everybody has going on, which leaves room for you to buff yourself, defense break them, do your nuke, right? She's just really, really good for that. I imagine she's still probably top tier in arena. I would imagine that she's still getting used pretty heavily in arena. Yeah, this was like kind of what I had going on. I never had Zyros, so I would run, I had Dark Samurai. I can't remember his name. I remember the light one, I think, is Tosi. I don't remember what the dark one's name is, but that was my team, except or Dark Samurai was here instead of Zyros. And it was nice. It was nice. She's just crazy good. And then here, this doesn't really matter, honestly. And then the A1 defense down is pretty nice. A1 defense down is always good. The A3 is just ridiculous, though, okay? Free wins in arena if you can get the speed up. All right, next up. Wow, they're all wind except one more. Hathor. So good. Resets the attack bar of the enemy target and decreases the attack bar of the other enemies by 30% each. Also puts them to sleep for 2 turns. AoE 2-turn sleep. Attack. I feel like she used to reset everyone's attack bar. Now it seems like she's doing the target and then everyone else is getting 30%. Let me know if I'm wrong, but I feel like I remember that she used to do a full turn meter reset for all enemies. Even so, this is still very strong. A 2-turn AoE sleep. She's so good in TOA hard. I used to run her with the, I think it's the light succubus. One of them can hit you while you're sleeping and not wake you up. So that's kind of what I would run. And then as the stages would get a little bit harder, I'd swap in some single target. She'd put them all to sleep, which we'd pick someone, take them out. I was running Mav. He could help her get around to her AoE sleep a little bit quicker. So we turn cycled and cooldown reset, where by the time they woke up, she could put them back to sleep again. So it was this full lockdown in the waves of TOA hard. Also crazy good in PvP, as you can imagine, right? You put the whole enemy team to sleep for 2 turns. That's hard to recover from. Here, she's got a strip sleep. So a single target strip and sleep. Again, for 2 turns. Crazy. Crazy. And then here we got an attack down on the A1. Just an amazing champ. An amazing champ. Last Wind Panda. I wanted him forever and ever and ever and ever. And then I popped back into the game after not playing for a while. And I popped a couple of random scrolls and I had a blessing. And I got Wind Panda or Triton. And I already had Triton. And I was like, wow. It saved me the dupe Triton, and instead I got Wind Panda. So I actually got Wind Panda and got to play around with him for a little bit. But he's really good. He's amazing in Guild Wars. Really, really cool. Can solo. He's a dangerous champ. Dangerous champ. He gets attack meter when he's attack bar when he's attacked. So hitting him is dangerous. And then his attack scale on his defense. So you can tank him up, increase his damage. He cleanses himself, puts counterattack on himself, and then also heals all allies if anyone else is alive. But that counterattack is really handy because now, every time you hit him, not only are you giving him 20% of his attack meter, but you're also having to catch a counterattack that's going to put a defense down on you because it's a 3-hitter with a defense down, and it's 50. Actually, maybe it's 30% with this. I can't remember if the skill description reflects. So maybe earlier when I said it's a 50% defense down, it actually wasn't. I can't remember if some games the skill description changes as you add skill ups. Some games it doesn't. You have to add it. I don't remember how it is in this game, to be honest with you. But either way, it's a very reliable defense down. He's going to land it pretty often. So he's hitting you, putting a defense down, then he's counterattacking constantly, getting turn meter every time you hit him. He's a real problem. On top of that, he's got a 44% defense lead in guild content. So he's a real Guild War monster. So I would be super stoked to pull another one of him. And then last on the list, and of course there are other champs that I miss having, but these are the ones that I felt like after going through them all, I missed or wanted the most. There's several other champs in here that I would be stoked to have, but the last one I'm going to specifically mention is Bastet. If I remember correctly, unless anything's changed, she's basically Nat 5 Megan. That's kind of how we viewed her back in the day. We've got attack bar, 25%, and then we've got attack power. We've got a shield, which sort of simulates the defense buff. We've got attack meter, fill, and we've got attack power for 3 turns. All right. Here, she's got an AoE. She's got an AoE defense down with glancing and HP. I feel like this is a different A2 than she used to have. I feel like this is different. Again, someone will have to let me know if at some point they changed her A2, because for some reason in my head, I feel like she had a different A2 back in the day. That's a killer A2. That's incredible. And then here we've got attack down. So just very solid support. I think especially with Megan having a second awakening, I would imagine Megan can still kind of stand on her own. But back in the day, it was kind of like if you pulled Bastet, you just moved your gear from Megan over to her. She was basically Nat 5 Megan. I don't think that's quite, very similar, obviously. The A2's different though. A2's really good. Let me know if that's different. That's a different A2. And then anyway, that's my list. Obviously, starting from like the Druid is one I forgot to mention that I've also pulled. Starting from about the Druid, these are all new to me. I couldn't tell you what a single one of these are called even. Except this one, obviously. Yeah, everything from the Druid down is new. So maybe there's some fantastic monsters in there that I don't know anything about yet. Some honorable mentions, of course, are like Water Panda would be amazing. Annabelle would be killer. I think Chow is really good again. I think Chow's kind of done the thing Laika's done, where he'll be real good for a while, and then something will change and he won't be so hot, and then he'll be real good again. Honestly, I'm happy with any Nat 5s. I had a lot of the wind ones. There weren't many wind ones for me to want anymore. Ritesh, I was saying in my Discord earlier, he was the first one I pulled when they released Transcendent Scrolls. He was my first Transcendent Scroll I ever pulled. So yeah, there's still several other champs I'd be stoked to have. But those are the ones I specifically feel like I miss. So I guess if anyone's been playing for a while and you want to let me know if any of the champs that I talked about are like no longer good, maybe something's changed. If there's any of the newer champs that I told you I wouldn't recognize that I should have an eye out for, so that I know if I pull them to get stoked. Like, I feel like this one is a fantastic pull. I feel like this was one to be pretty stoked about. This one I'm not sure about yet, Shadowcaster. Water Druid I'm also not sure about. And then Praha and Leo I know are both very good. Or they were very good back in the day. So yeah, let me know about the newer monsters, if there's anyone I should keep an eye out for and be excited to pull if we pull them. And I guess let me know if you have a wish list. I've seen a lot of other comments in my videos of people that are also returning to the game. So let me know if you're in a similar situation. Let me know your wish list from champs you used to have. Maybe you had to start a new account. I've also seen that comment quite a bit. Let me know what y'all got going on for a wish list as well. And I reckon that's it. We'll get out of here. Appreciate you guys. Hope you enjoyed this one. A little bit different than usual stuff, but we're gonna have fun. We're gonna have a good time here, whether you like it or not. Later.